Yeah.
Teacher, good morning. Thanks for accepting to be interviewed. The current interview is about difference in the use of the same language. It not take more than 5 or 10 minutes. Can we start?
Yes.
How can you difference the language from dialect?
Okay, so there is an important difference, and the main difference is that a dialect is a variation of a language, and that variation can take place either in its pronunciation, in most of the cases, in some cases also the structure of the sentences, and, and also the use of some words.
How can you define morphology?
Okay, so morphology is the study of the internal structure of words. So words are formed by prefixes, suffixes, roots, and so the morphology focuses on that study.
How can you define syntax?
Syntax is the study of the structure of sentences, the formation of sentences in a language.
What's the most common way in which the dialects of the language vary? Pronunciation, spelling, or sentence information?
It's more pronunciation.
Can you provide an example of dialect variation based on the option you just choose?
Yes, or a very popular example is the variation of English that is spoken by the black people in the southern part of the United States, in the southern states. So it has a very particular way of pronouncing certain sounds and that you can identify immediately, for example, a black community that is from that area or region of the US.
And what is the most common reason for dialects to vary?
Usually it's the geographical region or location.
Can you provide an example of dialect variation based on the option you just choose?
Okay, for example, as I said before, black people who settled in the southern part of the United States, they grouped themselves in that area and they started speaking English, of course, but with a special accent, with a special structure also in certain cases.
Taking into account English language, can you tell an existence difference in the regard to pronunciation, spelling, and sentence information between British and American English? A. Pronunciation, B. Spelling, C. Sentence information.
Okay, in pronunciation, characteristic of the British people is how they pronounce the suffix er or or. For example, instead of teacher, they say teacher. Instead of tutor, they say tutor. And spelling, there are some words. I remember theater, words like organize, they use an S instead of a Z, for example, in organize.
Sentence information.
In sentence formation, I've heard them say sentence like "shall we go," which is not very common in the U.S. So the use of "shall" that they make.
Taking into account Spanish language, can you tell an existence difference in regard to pronunciation, spelling, and sentence formation between coast and Sierra region speakers? A. Pronunciation, B. Spelling, C. Sentence information.
Okay, pronunciation, the R, which is typical in the Andean region, and in the coastal region they don't have this phoneme. So for example, a vehicle, they say caro, and which is the same as expensive, so basically they have the same pronunciation, while in the Andean region we use carro. And spelling, I really cannot think of an example. In spelling, I cannot say, maybe some foreign words, for example, like pizza. I know I've heard them pronounce pizza instead of pizza, and I guess they also misspelled that, but I don't know for sure. Sentence formation. Sentence formation. I haven't noticed a difference in sentence formation either.
Yeah, is there any other dialectal variation that you can tell how it happened?
Yes. For example, or a typical example that is usually studied in linguistics is what happened in the Caribbean, especially in Belize, with black people there, and they, of course, they were colonized by French people, and locals or black people started mixing that language or changing that language, and to the point that it was at the beginning maybe a dialect variation, but then it transformed and became a Creole.
Yeah, thank you, teacher, for your time.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you, teacher.